Brian Gast, your Vice President of Investigative Services for Équité Association. That's the people that are trying to handle the car theft problems here in Canada with law enforcement and the insurance bureaus, which you're working on. Brian used to be a policeman, so I'm going to ask him the number one burning question that we all need to have answered. Brian, when I wake up and the car is missing from my driveway, what do I need to do to effectively have the police help me the best way they can?
Really make sure that your safety is in check, and really call the police, notify the police as soon as you can that your vehicle's been stolen, and give them any information. If the vehicle's been long gone and you happen to have a ring camera or a camera of any sort, surveillance, make sure that you capture that. It doesn't get recorded over, it's captured, so you can provide all of that to law enforcement. But really report that theft as soon as you can, because you never know, your piece might be really significant to something else that's going on in your area, or something that they may be working on. So reporting it in a timely fashion is extremely beneficial.
Okay, some people have put systems in, professionals put in trackers throughout the car, and I know you call those places as well after you call the police, because they start tracking independently of the police. There's also a thing where people put air tags in their own cars. I don't think it's advisable for people to go tearing off after someone's who's stolen their car. So when you can see it and you know it's right there and you're dying to go to it, please tell everyone why they shouldn't go to it.
Yeah, as tempting as that might be, if it's a professional aftermarket tracking service where you've reported it to police, you've contacted your service, let them do the tracking. If it is something that you've put in your own vehicle, an off-the-shelf type of tracker, do not track that vehicle yourself. Never put yourself in harm's way. Make sure that you contact the law enforcement, let them know the coordinates or the direction or the whereabouts of that vehicle. But my number one tip on that is do not track that vehicle yourself and put yourself in harm's way.
We're seeing an increasing number of carjackings, which I find terrifying, because no matter how many aftermarket things you put in a vehicle, if you're already driving it, they're not in play anymore. It's just the driver. And I know it's give them your car. Of course, give them your car. You're not going to, die for a material thing. But as I raised in a column a few weeks ago, I used to drive around in an SUV with 2 little kids in the back seat. They have to come through me. So what do we tell people when they're out driving around, especially if they're in a targeted vehicle, which I hate saying that because you should be able to drive anything you want. Manufacturers should be doing more, and I know I'm saying that, not you. But that carjacking scenario, it's becoming more frequent.
Yeah, good question, and I think it comes down to be aware of your surroundings. Many vehicles have the ability to, as soon as you put it in drive, the doors lock. Even if your vehicle doesn't have that, make sure you do drive with your vehicles or your doors locked. Again, be aware of your surroundings. Be cautious if there's a play of something that's in front of you that causes you or promotes you to get out of the vehicle. Be very cautious of that. Again, I don't want to be an alarmist. You should be able to enjoy your freedom that we live in, but again, you do have to be cautious. If you're going into an unfamiliar area, make sure that you always look for a way out, an exit route. But again, drive with your vehicles, your doors locked, be aware of your surroundings, and again, I can't speak more about be aware of your surroundings.
I would also think don't be distracted, because I know when my kids were small, you're yelling at the kids in the back seat. That's an opportunity for somebody to take advantage of the distraction.
Yeah.
And the other thing that you touched on is trust your gut. If this doesn't seem right,
That's right.
You have the most power when your windows and everything are up and locked. Hit your gas and get out. Even if you break a traffic law, I'd rather a cop came and found me and I said that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's advisable? It's okay to do that?
And if you're feeling uncomfortable, if you're feeling there's something wrong and you're concerned, call 911. Call police. Make sure that you're on the line and you're seeking help, because obviously if there is an attack that they're looking at, they don't want to be caught either. So if there's something that you can do to thwart that attempt, and again, I'm not suggesting every time somebody goes out driving that they're going to be at risk, and I don't want to put that in people's mind, but always being aware is always good advice.
We want to make sure that the car's actually stolen and not just misplaced, which could happen. Where should we be careful when it's parking lots, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, in any public parking spot, and I remember this from my policing days, showing up to a mall and taking a theft report when in fact the vehicle was on the other side of the parking lot. So be familiar with where you parked it. If you need the assistance of a camera, take a picture of the location of your parking spot.
I've heard airport thefts are a thing.
Yeah, know where you parked it. Parking in an area that might have a little bit more traffic, and one that's not off way back at the end of a lane or the parking garage. The more visible, the more high traffic area, potentially the better you are.
Oh, because I just remember in the daytime parking under a light, you don't think about it, but when you come out at night, then and that was more of a girl tip than a theft tip, but now it's all merging together.
Yeah, no, that's actually really good. Look when you will be returning, what the time frame is, and that's actually a good thing. Anticipating that it is going to be dark if it's a nighttime return, and parking in that well-lit, well-traveled area, and walk with other people if you can. Preferably people that are familiar to you. So.
And they're not going to steal your car.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once you've ascertained your car's been stolen, I want to go in a time machine and go back to something that's really important, which is considering the insurance that you have on that vehicle. If it's leased or financed, you have theft insurance because it's required by those entities that actually still own your car. A lot of times though, if you take off your comprehensive, the theft can go with it. So please, please, please look at your policy, talk to your broker and find out, make sure that you're covered. The other thing to consider is that if your car is stolen, insurance will pay out the value of the car the day it was stolen. That could be a lot less, especially if you're underwater on a car loan or something like that. So when you purchase a car, you can get gap insurance through the dealership. If you've passed that by, there's a product called Optium, which only covers that difference between what you owe on the car and what the car is actually worth. It can make you whole again. So depending on the value of the car and how much you're in the hole for, you might want to consider this additional product. The other thing to consider, you'll have access to a rental car. It caps out in Ontario at $900. Well, it doesn't happen for the first 72 hours. So once the car is gone, you have to sit and wait as the police start their investigation. Usually it's wrapped up within 30 days. You've got the money. If your vehicle ends up being recovered by police, it now is owned by the insurance company if they've paid it out, if the investigation's been closed. Consider upping the rental insurance coverage you have. It's not just for a rental, it can be for Uber or taxis or transits, anything that you're going to need to get around. With the shortages, you might not be able to walk down to the dealer and pick up a new car, 3 days later. You might have to wait. So consider that when you're maxing out the benefits when it comes to additional coverage for things like rental cars. One other thing to think about is the things that are maybe in your car. Maybe you have a laptop or a camera or kids' strollers, things like that. Those items are covered under your house insurance. So that's another claim, that's another deductible. Another good reason to not leave anything in your car whenever possible. If you have one of the vehicles that ends up on the top 10 list for stolen cars, and I'm sure you know if you have one by now or not, we all do, you're probably going to consider aftermarket things to help you keep your vehicle safe. It might be that club that you put on the steering wheel. They cut through steering wheels, they cut through the club. All of these things, the boots that you can put on the wheel, the throttle locks, everything, is designed to make them steal someone else's car, which sounds like a really horrible thing to do, but that's basically what you're doing when you put a house alarm in too. You want them to go somewhere else. So investigate these, but also ask. Some of them could void your warranty. We've had issues of this. You can chase the media down for it. So check with your dealer, check with the manufacturer. That's who your warranty is with. So check with the manufacturer before you do anything that could really alter the wiring systems in your cars. Make sure you're using a legitimate aftermarket supplier. Many insurance companies are requiring people with really hot vehicles to acquire aftermarket systems, the immobilizers, and especially the tracking units. Take advantage of this. Some of the companies are paying for it for you. Some of them are putting a surcharge on if you don't do it. It's about $500 as a rule. Prices are going up because that's the world we live in, but there's a reason they're requiring you to do it, and it'll help keep your car safer and keep it in your driveway. When it comes to keeping your car in your driveway or keeping it safe where you left it, make sure your insurance coverage is adequate. Call your broker and talk to them. Make sure you do what the police and the media are telling you with where you park. Don't leave it running, don't leave it open, don't leave anything in there that is attractive to a thief. Ultimately, however, do not fight somebody that wants your car. Your safety is the most important thing for you and your family. It's a car, it can be replaced. But in the meantime, we're getting a handle on it, and I think we've heard some good advice today from Ekite. For Driving.ca, I'm Lorraine Sommerfeld.